Hi everyone, welcome to One Six Figure Focus, and in this video we're going to take a look at fusion reactors. So if you have an Iron Man like this diecast Mark 47 on screen here, you'll be familiar with, if you've ever tried to put the batteries in, you'll be familiar with how frustrating that is. It takes a long time to do, it's very frustrating, and then when you eventually get them all in and all the compartments on, it's not that bright and it dies after a few minutes. So what I've done is I've gone and bought a few fusion reactors kits. The link to the Instagram page is in the description of this video. So basically, I've taken off all the panels, revealing all the battery compartments. So as you can see there, the red piece on the ground, or on the table should I say, is the piece that covers this up. And this is obviously the part that the lid for the battery compartment, whatever, section. So you'll see this underneath the red part, and of course, there's a little screw on all these tiny little screw. And of course, the screwdriver that comes with these die-cast figures or Iron Mans or War Machines or figures that contain a lot of light-up pieces, they tend to come with this tiny little screwdriver if needed. So this one has like I think it's 6 battery compartments. I'm only going to use 5 because I'm actually displaying with the head sculpt at the moment. But you can see there's one in the chest, one in the left shoulder. You can see there the red thing is the shoulder panel. You take that off, and then there's a little grey silver piece which has the screw in it, which of course when you take that off reveals the battery compartment, as you can see here on the back. Again, right shoulder, same thing. You have the red piece and then revealing the silver piece with the screw underneath. There's obviously one on the left and right wrists as well. So yeah, they're pictured there. So I mean, like, the idea is that I wanted to be able to just use an app on my smartphone to talk to the smart plug that all my adapters are plugged into, and all my display comes on, my DTOF display and my CCFLs and fusion reactors. So it comes shipped from Australia, I believe he's based. Obviously it's just a normal little box, and inside then all the separate kits will be in separate individual labeled Ziploc bags. They're USB powered. So they'll all have a USB at one end, then the dummy batteries at the other end. And the cable as well, you can customize the cable if you want it 1 meter, 1.5, 2, whatever. You have that little kind of a connector then. So it goes USB wire connector. And then that connector, then the next wire will split up and you'll kind of go off in different directions. You'll have like, you know, a few different dummy batteries depending on the particular figure. This one has 6, one for the chest, one for the helmet, one for each wrist, and one for each shoulder. I said already I'm only going to use 5 out of the 6 because currently I want to show off that really nice Tony Stark head sculpt with the glasses on. Yeah, so the small ones there, they would fit into the wrists, I believe, and then the ones I'm pointing at there would be into the shoulders, the biggest one into the chest, and then that other one into the head. I just want to show you here. So this big one will actually slot into the back there. Now, of course, it's labeled with a negative, so you just have to look inside. There's very tiny details inside, but you'll match up the negative of the dummy battery with the negative on the figure. Same way as if you're installing the batteries. And you got to make sure it's right, otherwise it's not going to work. Another thing as well is make sure that all the switches are on, because otherwise you're going to go through the hassle of installing these, plug them in, and wonder why they're not lighting up because you didn't put the switches onto on. It can happen. So yeah, that's what it looks like. USB wire connector, and then another wire which splits up into X amount of dummy batteries. And I'm not using the head sculpt, obviously. So yeah, so this is the first step really installing these. Now, so I've gone and installed them, but I haven't put the panels on yet. They can be a bit finicky. The trick is to make sure that obviously the minus or negative terminal is on the battery or dummy battery is lined up with the negative on the actual figure as well, inside in the battery compartment, and then try to put the positive side against the coil at a 45-degree angle to kind of crush it down or compress it, and then pop it in. Okay, I have broken some of these in the past, but in fairness, fusion reactors did sort out and replace. Make sure the on switches are on. I kind of showed you already. So this is what it is, fully wired up. This is what it looks like. So again, there is 6 dummy batteries. I'm only using 5. And just basically you plug that in and you'd be good to go then. It looks very messy here. It can be frustrating. I'd equate putting in the fusion reactors with the same amount of time and patience required to putting in a full set of those batteries. But the payoff is that these aren't going to die. At least they're going to last longer than the batteries anyway. Now, one thing, if you can look at that there, I've obviously popped in the dummy batteries, screwed in the little silver covers, and then popped on the kind of the red or silver bits outside. And you can see after trying to find a gap in the armor, one kind of disadvantage is HotToys are so good at engineering their armor plates to fit on perfectly that sometimes it's hard to feed out that wire and get the piece of plastic to clip on unless there's a gap, and it's not always the case. The shoulder pads in this were quite difficult. So here you have it, fully operational. I have used cable ties, black cable ties in the back just to hide as much of those wires as you can see. You can see a tiny little bit of wire coming in from his right elbow and from his left wrist. But yeah, all in all, I gotta say, I'm really happy with the product here. So you can see the chest lit up. You can see there's like 6 different other lights on that chest and torso part. There's like 2 on the upper chest, 2 kind of the rib cage, and then 2 down by the hips. And then there would have been the one for the helmet, obviously, but like I said, I'm displaying that head sculpt. Just gonna show off all those lights. It looks very, very good lit up. So then how I work things is I just use a smartphone. It speaks to the smart plug you can see in the background there, and that just turns on all my lights. And you can see the black wire. I've tried to hide the black wire, just a bit of a white insulation tape. I think it's worked quite well. You can see it here because I'm pointing it out. I actually saw that it was actually Fusion Reactors shared one of his customers who did that, so shout out to them. I don't know who it was, but really did work well for the bottom shelves anyway. Like there, you could barely notice it. Now I want to show you underneath. By the way, these are all, you can turn these off and on with an app, which I will also link in the description. I'll pop up there as well. And as well, prices as well. Prices are quite reasonable. They're not cheap, but I think they're quite reasonable. But anyway, so I've pushed the USB down. I've had to drill a hole into the bottom of the IKEA, also the detolf, the white detolf. I've drilled a hole in the back right of all 5 of mine, fed the USB down, connects to this hub, which he does actually provide. In fairness, he doesn't have to do that, but he does. And then obviously the app talks to this hub, and yeah, you can turn them on or off. I actually don't do that. I just leave them all on and just use my smart plug that you can see here for everything. Yeah, I'm really happy with this product.